is we're going to do what I call lubing the rubber bushings in the shock. A lot of people complain of noise in the suspension upper bushing, and this is where it originates. So using a 9mm wrench put over the top adjuster of the damper, and for the rear damper using a 19mm round wrench, turn the bolt so as to loosen the mount. Okay, remove the nut by hand once it's loosened, and keeping the various washers in order, lift them off the top of the shock. I like to set them down on the ground in the same order in which they were taken off, so that this way I'm likely to put them back on in the proper order. Next, you simply lift the upper shock mount off of the damper, leaving the big flat washer and the bump stops in place. On ground control, you have an option of putting the rubber bushings into the upper rear shock mount, and it will make a difference in the stiffness of the assembly and how well it controls the movement of the car. Putting them so that the crowns face up results in a more flexible bushing, which might be nice for guys that simply drive the car on the street. Notice it's sort of a stepped appearance going down, and the same on the top. However, putting them the opposite way maximizes the firmness of the bushing, making it nearly as solid as a spherical bushing or the race rear upper shock mounts that you see. Not quite, but nearly so. Okay, here we are. We've removed the mounting bracket that mounts the upper shock mount assembly to the body of the automobile, just for clarity while we're doing this next step. Okay, once again, these are just urethane. They pull right out, and you are left with two identical looking urethane bushings and the aluminum anodized rear upper shock mount body itself. This is a product called chain wax. It is used for road motorcycles and off-road motorcycles, and can be obtained from any performance motorcycle dealership: Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha. What this does is it sprays up as a wet lubricant and dries to a wax consistency. And all we do is simply shake the can and spray a small amount on the inner and outer surfaces of the urethane bushing, as well as underneath the upper shock mount. We're going to let this sit for approximately 5 minutes, which will allow it to set up to a semi-solid wax. Okay. Upon allowing the wax to set up on the bushings, put them in. In this case, you can see I'm doing them at their stiffest setting, which is to say with the little nubs facing inward towards each other. And reassemble the rear shock. Slide the assembled bushings this way over the rear shock. Place back the large washer on top, the lock washer, and the nut. Prior to placing the nut over the threads of the rear damper, use some anti-seize so that one can obtain a true torque reading. Okay, now using a torque wrench, torque the nut down to approximately 35 Newton meters and try to keep a straight angle on the torque wrench.